6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Mindset Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you all. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Wednesday to you. What's up, Sherry? How you doing? James is in the house. Oh, guys, if you need, wait, my video wall is done. DONE. And if you need video work, if you need a videographer, if you're trying to figure out how to put your stuff out there, you need to talk to him. I told him, I said, you need to come on the show, man. You need to meet these people. You need to meet my family. So it's pretty cool. It's amazing what videographers can do. I think it's a gift. Coach Ted, because that's what we talked about yesterday was your name, Todd, because Christian's like, I don't even know how long ago it was, but we still talk about Coach Ted. So I'm excited that we have Coach Ted with us here today. Guys, you know I'm joking around. Our main man, Mr. Coach Todd Harris. Blessed and fortunate to be able to know this individual. We've known each other. It's been 2 years. We had a 2-year anniversary. Todd I don't even know if he knows it, but Facebook, I didn't know it, Todd, until Facebook told me. Facebook, they always like to give us those reminders, how many of you like in Facebook world, it's just like in history, this is what happened. This is your 2 years ago. And you're just like, damn, that's been that long. Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing. How many of you felt that? Put a 6 in the chat. If you saw that, it popped up and you see those things. And I look at those as little God moments. Like they're little moments to remember. And if you don't, I'm going to give you a quick perspective and then I'm going to send it over to Todd. But I saw the video, or I saw the thing. Coach Burt came to Charlotte. Him and I did an event. That's how I met Todd. And I met a couple of his Goombas, and I know exactly Todd sat in towards, I don't want to say the back row, but he sat towards the back. And I remember meeting him, and how many times, Bishop Jake says this, you meet each other on the same stair. You meet each other on the same step. And what happens in society, while people tend to I don't really like that person, or they don't get involved with you anymore. And it's because you continue to go up the steps of growing while the other person stays stagnant. It usually happens around the holidays when people ask, hey, how are things going? It's kind of like the general question, how you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while. What's been new? And you hear, same old, another dollar, another day. You know how it is with the kids doing this, doing that. You know how it is with the wife. You know how it is with the hubby. He does his thing. I do mine. It sounds, how many of you, I'm talking like we've heard this. Todd's not like that though. It was pretty cool because him and I say this with confidence, not arrogance, we continue to grow. We continue to take 1% each and every day. So it's not as if he's looking up at me or I'm looking up with him. Some days it's, hey man, let me help you out. Some days, hey, let's go up this step together. Hey man, what are you doing? What do you got going on? So if you want to have somebody to help you out with accountability, whether it's personal life, business, whatever it is, Todd's one of those people that I would have a conversation with, because I enjoy my conversations with him. I enjoy my conversations with many of you, but he is somebody that I truly can say 2 years ago, we met on the same step, and 2 years later, we're on the same step together, both growing, and we are looking down at that step that we first met each other at. So it's great to have Todd here as one of our speakers, one of our leaders. Lean into him today. Put some 5s in the chat. Put some love in the chat for our main man, Mr. Coach Todd Harris. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Brock. How are you doing this morning, man? I'm so excited to be here today. Before I get started, I really want to to give a shout out to you. I don't think you sometimes. I think you probably people talk about you, but you don't get the shout out you need, guys. I've been going through some stuff up here and in my personal life, and you always hear Brock on the show say, "Man, I'm there for you. I'm there for you. I'm there for you." And I got a lot of friends who, they some of them knew some of the stuff I was going through, and Brock just kept reaching out, and I didn't respond back, and Brock kept reaching out, and I didn't respond back, and I just hold it in on my own, letting it sit inside of me, and then finally one Sunday I was like, "Man, can we talk?" And we talked that Sunday night. And what's funny about coaches? When you get advice from a coach, it's nothing you don't already know. I mean, literally, nothing he said that night is something I told him. If I were to give somebody advice, I would give them the exact same advice you gave me. Like the literally exact same phrase I've given 287 times.
Yeah.
But it's the phrase that you need. And he just Brock said, just need to get your head out of your ass. Right. But that's the exact phrase that I would give 28 other people. And I just gave it to somebody this last Friday.
And I
Right.
remember
But what
even I was saying that to myself too. Like I remember because I was in spring break and it was after 9:30 because I had to put Bryce down. And I remember God put it inside of me. He's like, Brock, just say it to the guy. Just tell him exactly what he needs to hear. And I was like, Todd, you just need to get your head out of your ass, brother. And he's like,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's all. And I didn't need any more conversation out that because after that, because this is what I tell people every day. But what I'm saying that is for a reason. For everybody that's on the show today, when Brock says he's there for you, he really is there for you. I mean, he reached out, I don't know, a half a dozen times, and I gave no response, but he was relentless in making sure I was okay. Even when some of my best of friends were not. People I've known for a long, long time just let me go by the wayside. Brock did not. So if you need somebody on your team, guys, Brock is the guy. So Brock, in front of everybody, I need you to know that I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate your kind words.
I've got a conversation today I want to have. It's 3 sections. I'm not sure that we'll get to all 3 sections. If not, we'll have to hold out till next month for the rest of it. I'm going to try to jam it all in my 22 minutes I got. The first part is let me get over here to my notes. You can't attract light by staring in the dark, right? You can't attract light by staring in the dark, right? So you got to think about your mind, right? It's like a GPS. You've got this part of your brain, the reticular activating system, that whatever you focus on, you're going to get, right? When you say don't miss the exit, don't miss the exit, don't miss the exit, you're focused on missing the exit, so you're going to miss the exit, right? Too many of us, including myself, for about 3 months this past year, I was every day on Worry Avenue. I was really on Regret Boulevard, and I couldn't even, my map didn't even know where Success Lane was, right? And I'm sure there's other people here who have had that same feeling that you're on Worry Avenue all day long, right? If you've ever had that feeling, put my favorite number in the chat, right? 13. Put 13 in the chat, right? You just couldn't find Success Lane. You didn't know where Success Lane was, and you didn't even know if it still existed. Maybe they just destroyed that road and put it somewhere else that it wasn't on the map anymore. Some things I want you to think about is this. According to the National Science Foundation, 80% of our thoughts, literally 80% of our thoughts every day are negative. 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. And we wonder why we feel beat up every day. It's not because the outside world is doing it. It's because we're doing it. Constant negative thinking wires our brains to expect pain, right? Not progress. I think I shared on a show one time recently. I started talking to a therapist, Melody. Her name's Melody. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. we have a date. It's like clockwork, and it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And one of the things that we work on is where I come from, right? Where I come from. She didn't. I never thought I had anxiety, right? I never thought I had anxiety. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 13 years old. I just live in a world that's stressful. It's just another day in my life. And she says, "You've got anxiety." And I'm like, "I don't have anxiety. I don't even know what that is." She's like, "No, legit, you have anxiety." And so, okay, we don't name it anxiety. We name it angst. We gave it a different word, angst, because the word anxiety is a little tough for me. Well, 2 weeks ago, literally, I'm sitting at coffee with a former employee, and they said to me, "Now that you've been diagnosed with anxiety, how has that changed things?" And it was like I legitimately just wanted to grab my coffee, get up, and leave. Right? Because it's like it didn't change anything. Like I'm not debilitated. Oh my God, give me melody. I have anxiety now. I need to go to my room and just curl a corner and be in fetal position because I don't know what to do with my life. Right? But their mindset was such that now that you have anxiety, you probably won't be able to function anymore. And it's going to be really hard for you to do the thing that you want to do. Right? So when you think about that, I think about that person and the way they think. They can't, it's so hard for them to be positive, to see what tomorrow is going to bring, to see in my world, to see the rainbows and the unicorns. If you're always surrounded by gossip and you're always surrounded by complaints, and you're always surrounded by defeat, you can't be surprised when you're stuck and uninspired. And we have to remember that 80 to 85% of those thoughts that are beating us up are coming from ourselves. And if we're surrounding ourselves with those people that support and help you cheer on that 80 to 85% of negative thoughts, you're never going to get to success lane. Um, Dr. Caroline Leaf, she's a cognitive neuroscientist. She explains that our thoughts physically change the structure of our brains. Toxic thoughts release chemicals like cortisol, keeping us in fight or flight. So, I mean, think about that. If you're in a negative state all the time, you're in this state that's beating yourself up, you're literally changing the way your brain is because of the way we think. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson says, by her broaden and build theory, it shows that positive emotions open us up to more possibilities and increase our capacity to build resources. You know, it's as simple as this. If you sit in a room and you're listening to somebody with your arms crossed, like your brain literally turns off what's being said. It turns it off, right? And one of the things that we have to remember is every human emotion is tied to a specific body posture. Right? Every human emotion is tied to a specific body posture. So if you can just control your body posture, you can help control emotions. When you get really pissed at somebody, you're like, and your body, right? If you just stand up just a little bit, let some of that tension go, that what was, I hate this person is, I'm not sure if I care for this person. Just shifts everything, which then shifts your mindset of where you're going to be with that. And then, if you're familiar with Tony Robbins at all, he calls it crazy eight. Once you get into that space, you have that moment where you're like, and you're tense. You're going to get to the water cooler at work, and somebody's going to say, "How's your day?" And now you're going to repeat that conversation and that story. Later at lunchtime, somebody's going to say, "How's your day been so far?" You're going to repeat that story. Your wife's going to say, "How's that?" You're going to repeat that story. You're just going to stay in that cycle all day long. We got to shift, right? It all shifts up here, and it all shifts really in our body. So a couple of call to actions for you in this part of this thing is stop answering the phone for gossip. If you got friends that want to tell you about crap, don't answer the phone. I was out the other day and I told somebody I'm going to be out, don't message me. And they sent me 20 messages in 3 hours. And they were all negative messages. Literally, I'm not making that up for the podcast today. Literally, somebody sent me 20 text messages. And I was like, stop. I had to have a conversation later. We can't talk anymore. We just can't. I'm on this important thing for me and I'm being blown up and I can't do that. We know to change your environment. If you change your environment, if your environment is draining you, a friend of mine, CJ, says, is the rooms you're in or the things you're doing, is it life giving or life draining? When she said that, I was like, man, getting rid of that, getting rid of that client, getting rid of that client. I'm going to stop doing that. It's just too hard for me. And it's okay remember, it's okay to be in a negative place, but you don't have to have negative expectations. We're all going to go through negative things, but it's fixing the expectations. Remember, you're not stuck. You're just staring in the wrong direction. Turn the car around 180 degrees. Next part is the power of focus and prayer. I was listening to a story by Jim Carrey, and probably most of you guys heard this story. It's a fantastic story. He was a kid. I think he was in second grade, and I think he was in Catholic school. And the nun says, um, if you pray to the Virgin Mary and ask her for what you want, and then tell her what you'll do for it, you'll always get what you want. He said, I sat in the classroom and was like, bet. That's all you got to do is ask the Virgin Mary for what you want and then trade out what you're willing to do for that. I can handle that. He says, I really wanted this Mustang bike when I was a kid. It had the long banana seat, the big handlebars. And I went home and I prayed to the Virgin Mary to give me that bike. And I prayed the rosary. 2 weeks later, I come in and my family's in awe staring at me. He goes, I grew up poor. My dad didn't have a lot of money. I didn't pay no mind to him. I go to my room and my brother says, didn't you see? He says, what? So he comes out. He says, right there, that's yours. And it's the Mustang bike with a banana seat and big handlebars. His friend had entered him into a raffle that he didn't even know he was entered into. And he won the raffle. He says, now, because of that, I live my life through prayer every day. Well, when we think about that, let's talk about visualization and things like that. Harvard research says people who visualize their goals are 1.5 times more likely to achieve them. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. How many of you guys, including myself, have woken up from a nightmare and you really believe the 6-headed monster with fangs is in the room getting ready to suck your blood? Your heart's racing, you're sweating, but it was just a dream. If you look at a lot of, if you watch Winter Olympics, and it happens in a lot of sports, but I remember this one Winter Olympics, Sydney, I believe is her name, Sydney something. They were talking about how she was a downhill skier. She goes, I get on these ropes, right? They had these suspended ropes, and I close my eyes and I visualize the course, and I can see the course in my head. And when I get to the course, it's the exact same run. Visualize the success that you want to have. I mean, people, I know I've got people that love to make fun of my vision boards and stuff, right? But I can see what I'm capable of. I can see what I truly think I can aspire to and have. And when I stay focused on that and I'm visualizing it daily, I'm not just like, oh, look at that board. Like, no, I'm locked in and laser focused. Man, those things click off. The stuff that I was going through 3 months ago, the last 3 months, man, it had me in such a spin that I lost focus on my vision board and what was right. As soon as Brock said that statement, boom, I looked at my vision board when we got off the call, and everything that I was going through has almost righted itself because my focus changed. And it's not that I don't know this, I coach it every day. But sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, the coaches need coaches. Dr. Andrew Newberg says prayer and spiritual practice activates the frontal lobes and calms the limbic system, which reduces fear and anxiety while improving focus. I know this for myself as a fact, right? I'm sure he's got some studies behind that, but from myself, I walk 3 to 4 miles every single day. And my first mile is typically me and God having a conversation about all the minutia that's going on in my life. When I finish that first segment of my walk, I've got clarity on the answers and where I need to go. Because I'm offering it up to something that's bigger than me. And I don't know that he's giving me any answers, but he's allowing me the space to say what I need to say so the answers can flow freely through me. Anxiety comes from when we don't have answers to something. So when I have answers, my stress levels are way down. What are you doing on a daily basis that's helping you reduce that, whether it be on your walk, talking to God, through prayer, whatever it is you need? What are you doing, right? I think think it's MDMR therapy. I don't know. There's some type of therapy I'll tell you guys about on another call. I'm making a note to tell you guys about this, and walking. We'll do that another time. Got to stay focused, bring my ADHD back. All right. Um, People who Yale study on prayer and depression. People who engaged in daily prayer showed improved mental health, resilience, and reduced symptoms of anxiety. I'm just saying there may be something to the prayer thing, right? I'm just saying there may be something to the prayer thing. If you're not doing it on a regular basis, do it. Put it as part of your routine. If you don't believe in prayer, great. Talk to something out there that's bigger than you. All right, talk to something that's bigger than you, because whatever that is that's bigger than you is still listening. Focus, faith, and frequency. Focus like a laser. It really cuts through distractions, right? I teach martial arts as part of what I do. And it's amazing when I got a kid who's looking at the bag, he can throw that combination, he can roll his hip, he can hit the power, he can bob and weave, he can do everything he wants. As soon as he is doing the thing and he looks over to see what the next person does, boom, he gets hit in the head. Yeah, because he lost focus. How many times are we getting hit in the head by life because we're losing focus? Here's something to think about. Prayer sets the tone, rewires the brain, and taps into your spiritual alignment, right? Prayer sets the tone, it rewires the brain, and it taps into your spiritual alignment. If that piece is not aligned, it's really hard for the rest of your life to be aligned. The big takeaway from this section for me is going to be you can't control everything, but you can control where your attention goes. And wherever your attention goes determines the direction your life's going to move in. I heard this quote. I'll finish this right here, this part. Faith is focused on what you can't see. I have a firm belief that life always works out in my favor. Life always works out in my favor. Since I was 13 years old, I've said life works out in my favor. And every time I've had crap happen, it's okay because I know it's going to work out in my favor. And it always turns a corner, and what I wanted was right there. The problem is sometimes we don't walk far enough down the block to get to the corner to see that what we want is right there. We turn around and say, we must be on the wrong block. Section 3, average people talk problems, great people talk solutions. Before I talked to Brock that night, I was thinking about all the things that were going on and who's to blame and why this didn't happen and why this didn't happen and why, oh my gosh, and it's your fault, it's her fault, it's his fault. And it really was the one phrase. Sometimes it's just the phrase, sometimes it's the story, sometimes it's the thing. Right. And for me, it was get your head out of your ass. And then I realized, everything I already need is already inside of me. It took me back literally to 13 years old when I watched, for you guys that have ever seen the spoof movie, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, right? The whole theme of Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon is everything you need is already inside of you to be successful. It reminds me of the phrase that I tell people all the time. When you believe in you as much as I believe in you, you're going to be amazing. Dr. Martin Seligman says, if you don't know him, he's the father of positive psychology. People who take personal accountability and practice optimism are more resilient, successful, and mentally strong. How hard is it for people to take accountability in today's world? I get so tired of hearing, I am this way because when I was 9 years old, my mom talked to me this one time that was really hard and it hurt my feelings, and I'll be traumatized for the rest of my life because she wouldn't let me play the Nintendo. And it hurt my feelings. And I'm just like, man, where did we lose the resilience? Yeah, and the issue is, it's if you have kids, it's our fault. right? We raised those generation of kids to believe that. We wanted them to have it better than we did. And by having it better than we did, we didn't teach them how to be resourceful, how to be resilient, how to be emotionally strong. We took a lot of those things away. There's a Stanford study. It's called the locus of control, right? Which is those with an internal locus, or those who believe they can control their destiny, are more successful in life and business than those with an external one. Most of us here know tons of people. Literally last week, someone says, aren't you afraid because Trump's in office, the crash of this is going to crash, and that's going to happen, and this is going to happen, and the world's going to really Lucifer's coming back, basically, right? Like that's the whole conversation was, we're all going to lose our money and we're going to have to start all over. And I just looked at them and said, I don't believe whoever's in Washington dictates how much money I get to make, because it's up to me when I'm on the track and the course turns left, it's up to me to drive into the barrier or turn left. Right? I don't believe outside people have that kind of power over me. That's why I became an entrepreneur. I wanted to be able to make what I wanted to make, when I wanted to make it, how I wanted to make it. And they just looked at me befuddled, like, well, that doesn't make sense, because the narrative that I've heard my whole life is. Tony Robbins says, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Right? I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. I've done literally every certification he's ever had. And some of the things he's ever said really hit me, right? One of the biggest phrases he's ever said is, nothing has any meaning except the meaning you give it. Whatever happened in life is an event that happened. It has no meaning. It's just an event. You chose to see it positive or negative. I think back to when I was, I'm going to use the F word. I apologize for you guys if you're offended by this. I remember back to 2020 when I was fat. I was 230 pounds on a 5'9" body, and I should not be 230 pounds. I would ask myself, why am I fat? And it would be because you have no self-control, because you eat too much, because you this, because I had all the answers, right? When I stopped and I said, how can I lose weight and enjoy the process? When I asked myself a different question, my health journey changed. And I went from 230 to 160 in 90 days. The question I had to ask myself had to change. You got to remember, your brain is a computer. Whatever you ask it, it will give you an answer. You ask it a negative question, it's going to give you a negative answer. So some things I want you to think about this week on this section is, journal every day. Journal one daily complaint. Journal one daily complaint and write out 3 different statements that you could use there. If you got a complaint today, you're like, oh, why am I? Write that down and then write 3 powerful statements that flip that, so you don't see it that way. That's sort of your homework assignment here. Remember this: victims blame, leaders build. Stop being a victim. And it's really, most of us, it's not being a victim from other people, it's being a victim of ourselves, because 85% of our negative comes from up here. 85% of our thoughts is negative, and 90% of those are repetitive. So I hope today, for some of you guys, there was a message somewhere in there. I didn't have one strong message today. I had 3 things that just hit me this morning about 3 a.m. when I got up to think about what was going on and what I needed to talk about today. So Kevin, John, Cindy, you guys, thanks for coming on. Chad, thanks for being on today. John, Latrice, I hope, Amy Kane, hope you guys got something from today. Brock, I'm going to turn it back to you because I'm now 42 seconds past 8:45. I got it all in though.
I love it. I love how you're the leaders are great. They're always like, I gotta get this done at 8:45. I gotta make sure I get it in. So I appreciate that. I took some notes here, needless to say, right, Kevin? Right, Kevin Jones? I love this. You can basically, I'll paraphrase it. You can be in a negative place but not negative expectations. I really like that because to me, life is going to hit you. It's going to hit you in the mouth. You're going to have to deal with it. Shit's going to happen to you. Like that's just life. And if you don't think that that's going to happen, then just go back up in your bedroom and put your head over your pillow. That's a safe place for you. Okay. I don't recommend it, but that's the safest I could tell you. But that's not what life's going to do. And eventually it will catch up to you. But having negative expectations, that's like kind of waking up and be like, man, I hope a lot of bad things happen to me today. I hope all those IRS bills finally make their way over here. I've been waiting for them. I just wait at the mailbox and be like, when you coming in? I know you're coming. Like, imagine if that was our thought process, and that's to the extreme, all. But some of us, the first thing we think about is negative expectations every single day. This is going to happen. Oh my gosh, I hope this problem doesn't take place. I hope the inspection, this is going to, like, we go to negative town. And I love that line, how you said that. And the other thing that I'll conclude with is like, it's so true. We have these negative thoughts in our head. A majority of them, 90% of them, I believe you said, are repetitive. It's the same damn thing we said a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And that to me was really, really, there's certain environments I don't go into certain rooms anymore because I get tired of hearing the same people talk about the same problem. Frickin' do something about it. If not, shut up. Just shut up. Todd, close us out, brother. Lead us into Derek tomorrow.
Man, let me tell you what, guys. You're on a show Monday through Friday that makes a difference in the world. It literally makes it doesn't matter who's speaking, something's going to be said every day. If you can't tune in, and I can't tune in now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have a personal trainer. It's a part of my life I needed to take over. Go back and watch the replay. Watch the replay because you're going to get something from it. I promise. Guys, tomorrow's Derek. We know what he delivers every week. It's nothing but fire. Make sure you're on. See you guys tomorrow.